Some very small places. You got millennials with dreams of living down on the riverfront, and they end up paying $1,600 for an 800 square foot flat. Are you crazy? You get a whole house for that. But that's the reality now. Are you prepared for your children to never move out? You better elect the right damn president. I think I'm going to vote for the president that's going to make it easier for children to move out of their homes. Now, I've got a long way to go, and I love Luda Buddha, love Junior, but forever? Hell no. I mean, that's my aspiration, but we'll see how it goes. What's been your reality? What's been your reality? You better choose the right president, Tracy. You better choose Donald Trump because he's a businessman. Business. He's a businessman, right? I'm so damn sick of these Republicans running around talking about the fact that Donald Trump's a businessman, and that's what we need. We don't need another politician. He's a businessman. Okay, great. He's a businessman who won't release his tax returns. So maybe what the hell does that tell us? I'm watching Fox News this morning. I come across this representative. His name is Representative Ryan Zinke, or Zink, Zinke. I want to call him Zinke. Ryan Zinke. He's on Fox News this morning talking about how the age of political correctness has come to an end. And we need people like Donald Trump. Then he said it again. The age of political correctness has come to an end. And I'm like, code word, what you're saying is that it's okay to call people whatever racial slur you want to call them? Is that what you're trying to say? The age of political correctness has come to an end. Watch that. Okay? They don't just these talking these talking heads that you see on Fox News and on these other stations, they're not walking in there with a brain full of their own thoughts in many cases. They're plants. They're running lines. They're setting down the foundation. The age of political correctness has come to an end. Let's just watch and monitor if you don't see more of these Republican talking heads using that term. Because what that term does is basically redefine Trump's homophobia, xenophobia, right? His chauvinism, and it's somehow transformed into a man that just talks straight. What is up with these straight-talking Republicans? Didn't John McCain run on the straight-talking express when he was running for president, and it rolled him his ass right back on? It did not lead to 1600 Pennsylvania. And what was that? Bush? He was a straight talker. That was his best. That was his best and his only superlative. He was a straight talker. What do you want to do? What do we do, Dick? Dick Cheney whispers in his ear, and then whatever he says, they rebrand as, he's a straight talker. And now they're doing the same thing with this buster, Donald Trump. If you ever want your kids to move out, we got to make sure we put the right politicians in place. Now, who's that politician saying, you know what, I'm going to make sure that your millennial children have jobs so you can be an empty nester? You know what I'm saying. Good morning, Jane. Good to see you. What's up, Terrence? What's up, Kelly? Good to see you. Good to see everybody. Dale writes, why isn't any examples of development without displacement? Is it possible? Yes. But the major investors' plan is to disperse. For what I've seen in these developments, OTR is a prime example. Right. I mean, if you're a developer and you're spending perhaps $1 million or more of your dollars to develop, then that's an investment. You're not developing just so you can put people in great housing close to downtown. I mean, why would you give something away for $100,000 that you can slap a historic label on it, put some modern features, and get $400,000 or $500,000 out of it, right? That's American. That's just capitalism, can I say? That's capitalism. There's nothing wrong with capitalism. The only problem with capitalism is that the people who are in a position to capitalize do just that. Everybody else is scrambling for table straps. Does anyone are there any examples of developing without displacement? And we're talking about Avondale. For me, that means when I say that, to me, I conjure up images of like Avondale residents who may be 2, 3, 4 generations there, who've been renting, can now through some human construct, right, can now become homeowners in Avondale. That's what I think. Because if you tear down housing that to that point had residents who were either living in subsidized housing and or they were paying very, 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 very low rents, monthly rents and or mortgages because of the property value or maybe the shape of the value or the shape of the property in the home affects the value, or maybe something across the street, something needs to develop or whatever. But if those people move out and you say, listen, you can reapply, and then you build homes that are 400,000. Again, these numbers don't have to be right. I'm just spitballing with you. 400,000, 300,000, maybe even $200,000 in some cases. Those same residents can't afford to get back in, but what they're doing is not illegal. So what is that line? I mean, what's the perfect line? And then if I spend 200,000 or 300,000, 400,000, let's say I spend $300,000 for a home, do I want to be across the street from subsidized housing? I'm just saying though. If you spend $300,000-$400,000, if you spend $200,000 on a home, when you go on your porch, do you want to see subsidized housing? No, you want to be in a neighborhood with people who are investing in the neighborhood just like you. Why? They're going to treat it better. You're going to have a better experience. I mean, if you own a home and you're right next to subsidized housing or a bunch of apartments, depending on the nature of those individuals, and again, it's a crapshoot. You could have a very poor experience on a daily basis. I'm just saying. Tell me. So what's the middle ground there? You tell me. Ms. D, good to see you. She writes, it seems the only place we are willing to invest our money together is with churches. But that's what it will take for us to own homes and businesses where we live. Everett writes, Nate, I'm a truck driver, and I travel mainly through NC, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, and I see the same thing. We hardly own anything in our neighborhoods. That's because a lot of people start out, number one, before you go to school, there's some people that's just set down the wrong path. We now know that with all of the bright, smart intelligence and data that's coming out for the folks who are behind the preschool promise and other initiatives. And we know there's a lot of black kids that go to substandard public schools. We know that. I mean, we can blame that. You got a lot, in some cases, you got phenomenons of teenagers getting pregnant. That takes you off your life chart. It's hard for you to invest in yourself when you're trying to raise a child. I mean, there's numerous things. It becomes a vicious, self-feeding, nasty cycle it's hard for people to get out of from generation to generation. Okay? Tanika writes, I agree. I read it already. I read it already. Brent writes, late but still great. Good to see you, Brent. Absolutely. Hey, Cruther, no problem. That's what we do here. Absolutely. You got to support the people that support you, honestly. And sending some positive vibes to your family, absolutely. Pat writes, what they did to the child, no problem. Shanker writes, LMAO, I'm not sure what he's laughing at. Mr. Hollywood writes, I could never live with my grown kids. Well, you're lucky. A third of millennials are back at home. I mean, they never leave. Is it wrong for you to want your kids to leave your home? Is it wrong? It's like, okay, you 18 now, bye. Is that wrong? Did anybody do that? Did you experience that? It's like, listen, we set you up to go to college. We taught you how to boil hot dogs and make ramen noodles and Kool-Aid. We taught you how to put ice on your twisted ankles. We taught you how to iron clothes. Daddy taught you how to drive. Bye! What's wrong with that? Nothing wrong with that. Angela writes, I've emptied my nest and trying my best to keep it that way. Much to my 26-year-old's dismay. And he wants to get back in, huh? I bet he does. Save some money, live with moms. Mooch off mom. That ought to be a reality show. Mooch off mom. And it can be about 26, 27-year-olds who've been mooching off mom forever. It's like when we send you to college, the whole intent is that you stay gone, right? And you become grown and stand on your own 2 feet. Tracy writes, I left home at 23 right after college. It was a struggle, but I made it. These kids will figure it out too. LOL. That's right. I think that, and from what I've seen, women are much more independent. Tell me if I'm wrong here. I'm not male bashing, but I'm just saying, let's be real. But are women or men, sons or daughters, more likely, who leaves fastest and stays gone the longest? Something tell me it's women. Because women want to go out and do their own thing, right? They got access to all different, the entire sort of public sector in terms of jobs, okay? The glass ceiling is a little higher now. Still there, though. Still there. Ladies, still there. We know it, but it's a little higher now. And women can do their own thing. These men want to stay at home and play PlayStation 5 or 4 and suckle off mommy's bosom. Mommy's bosom. Hey, Mom. I mean, I get it. Mom, we're out of milk. 27 years old. Can you give me some ice cream? Oh, my God. Ms. D writes, Nate, kids not being able to afford to move out is another reason for us to own property in our neighborhoods. LOL. You can still let them live for free, but in their own space that you still provide. I mean, I think home ownership, owning, depending on, where you are and it's an investment and your house and your land is going to appreciate, then that's the best option. Absolutely. Because you got to live somewhere. You're always going to need a place to live. Brittany writes, Nate, we so looking forward to our empty nest, Nate. Our son keeps sneaking back, even though we took over his room. He don't mind sleeping on the floor, shaking my head. Then we have 2 daughters that say, we don't want to ever leave home. What? So y'all too good to them. The older you get, the meaner you got to get to your kids if you got a plan to get them out. I'm telling you. You got to start getting mean. You got to look at them as strangers like, Daddy, and don't even respond sometime, Mommy, you just stop responding to it when they get about 16, 17. Call me by my first name, okay? Stranger. Said your son willing to sleep on the floor, huh? Ah, that is hilarious. Ms. D writes, I grew up on the West Coast, and development with displacement is happening in Oakland also. It's sad, right? It's very sad. Omar writes, I have made the home life so terrible. My kids can't wait to leave. They got their bags by the door, counting down the days to graduation. They say stuff like, we'll finally have things like cable, electricity, 3 meals a day, LOL. That's a smart man right there. That's a smart man. The older you get, the less of that baby, no. You 10 now. Okay? Go sit down in your room so I can make believe you're not here. No, I'm serious though, but you have no idea how serious I am about that. Very serious. 15, 16, little boo ain't gonna be able to stand me. She's not. She is not gonna be able to stand me. I'm gonna have so many damn rules. You gotta do this. You gotta do this. I'm gonna buy her food and eat different food in front of her, like steak and stuff. I'm gonna do all that stuff. And then my rationale is gonna be, when you get your house, you can do what you want to do. That's how you do it. Y'all don't know how to play the game. Oh, boy. Rookies. Tonika writes, I can't imagine my 5-year-old being a teenager, let alone moving out. See, she's all wrapped up in the bosom. I understand that's a beautiful love right there, Tonika. Hold on to it. Because I look at my daughter now who has grown immensely. And oh, by the way, she got to get a cast on her leg in just a couple days. Get this, she's looking forward to it. She has an issue with her knee. She's just really overactive. And basically the tendon is pulling a piece of her knee away from the bone just because she's growing fast and she's very, very active. The doctors have assured us that it's something that's fairly routine. But because she's so active and won't slow down, now she's got to get a full leg cast to immobilize it for the next week or so. So, another experience. Get this, she was mad because she wanted to get it this week. I'm like, girl, it's the last week of school. Don't you want to be mobile? But I get it. I understand it. So that's what's going on in our world. I look at her now and I'm like, where did my baby go? I mean, she's like, she is that girl.